All right, and we are back. So, picking up where we left off, in between the last video and now, you probably want to have downloaded STK 12.5.0, unpacked that, and installed that. That's going to take a little bit of time. Hopefully, I'll go ahead and point this out. Again, follow the instructions that they've got on the Stellar Explorers page to help you out with that. Make certain that you select License Server ANSYS License Manager. You absolutely need that. If it's not automatically checked, I would also recommend that you click Planetary Data Supplement. That's what will allow you to get access to central bodies that are not just the Earth. And for some of the scenarios that we have on my website, some of those are actually centered around other objects, like say the Moon or Mars or Jupiter, that sort of thing. So in order to access that, you will need the Planetary Data Supplement. Installing it now is probably the best thing to do. It may be set up to automatically install, but just in case. You will have to select the License Server ANSYS License Manager. You absolutely need that, or else you won't be able to get STK to activate, is my understanding. Okay, we're going down to the next parts here. We're going to see these actually in real time, though first, I have not actually installed the new license on my computer yet. I've waited, and I planned on doing this video along with it. I received this file, which I'll drag over here and then drag back. I received that file back from the Stellar Explorers staff, and it's the one that they made with basically the equivalent of the file that I created that you saw in the last video. Okay, so one of the things that I'll start off with, I'm going to try and open STK12, and my suspicion is, I'm going to go with allow. Let's see. I think it's going to tell me that there's an issue with the license because I have not installed the new license yet. And it may take a minute to load up. This is a very large program. There we go. It's giving me a warning. A current STK license could not be found. Start ANSYS client licensing settings to assist. Go ahead and click OK. I'm going to click yes. You will need admin rights on your computer in order to do this. It'll take a moment, but if this is your first time setting things up, if you've never installed STK on this computer before, running into this, where it's asking for the license stuff, can be useful. For pretty much all the computers that I've worked with, and I've worked with over a dozen getting them STK on them over the years, we set the port to 1055, and that is laid out in the materials that they've got. I think it may be under the troubleshooting in there, but just in case you run into that problem. 1055, and the server needs to be the name of the computer that you are currently on. So in this case, I have changed the name of the computer. This computer's name is actually Hermes, but we refer to it as development. I should actually put the name here as Hermes. It used to be that, but I've overwritten any particular information so you all can't just steal all of my info and then, I don't know, do something with it, sell it to pirates. Anyway, once you've got that put in, you can click test. It'll take a moment, and basically we're doing a test to ping the server to make certain everything's good. On this, we've got an error on feedback on that, but that may be because I don't have the license fully installed yet. But you may need to have this set and ready to go. So 1055 and Hermes, and then you would normally click save, but I haven't changed anything. We'll come back to this one in just a moment. Now the next step is to actually install the license, and for that I'm going to need to go to my files or my programs, and I'm going to look for ANSYS License Management Center. Okay. I'm going to click that, and it's going to say, hey, this thing is going to be interactive. It brings up in a browser window, but that's perfectly fine. And right now, mine is saying, hey, we've stopped, nothing is running because we don't have a good license file. I had a license on this computer last year, but it expires on August 1st. So right now it's saying, hey, you don't have access, you need an updated license. So over here on the side, we get add a license file. So I click here. I'm going to click browse. It tells me choose file. And then I put it on my desktop, but wherever you have it, it may be in your downloads folder. So I'm going to go over here and find the correct license. Now this was Team 0008 is what I'm associated with right now as a technical mentor. And this computer is -15. If you've got a bunch of licenses, that's where that list I mentioned comes in handy. So I'm going to do 15 because you do have to get the correct license installed on the correct computer. I can't just put this on another one. I'm going to do install license file. It'll take a minute. This computer is actually pretty powerful. This one I'm calling development because we develop a lot of our training scenarios, among other things. This is a powerful computer that is a gaming computer with a decent strength video card. So it's, for the most part, got a lot under the hood. It runs STK like a dream, runs it very well. Some of our lab computers are not advanced equipment, and they have a harder time running it, but they do successfully run it. So if you've got a computer that's a little on the weaker side, it might take a lot longer to install that license file. But it says here the license file has been installed successfully, and now we should be set and ready to go. I can go back up here, and we can see now it's not saying not running, not running, not running. It's actually saying the license manager is great. We should be able to close this out, and all of that will be fine. There's my list again. And I can go back over to that page that I had open. I'm pretty certain if I click test now, yep, we got a green check mark. Everything is set and ready to go. So our license should be working. I'm going to go ahead and close this. And now that I've done that, I can go back and attempt to open STK again. It's going to ask me which setting I would like. The best one for the Stellar Explorers program is, as they note in there, STK Premium Space, because Air has a bunch of things for setting up aircraft, that sort of thing, and then Enterprise kind of combines them. The idea on this is we're mostly focused in space, so by selecting that one, it kind of streamlines the functions that you've got. So if you're thinking maybe I want the one with both of them, I don't think it hurts, but we've been instructed to go with space, and it'll probably make it run better. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. We'll make certain that STK loads up, and then we'll be finished up for this video. All right, it's loading on my other screen, which is actually a much different resolution. So let me drag this over and see if I can put it on the screen that we are currently looking at. There we go. Although I need to drag this over. Great. So this is the regular load up screen. Whenever you've got a functioning version of STK, it'll load up to say, do you want to create a scenario or open a scenario, unless you're opening just the VDF. So if you open the program, it'll come to this page. But if you open a VDF, then it will usually load directly into that. I could just click Create Scenario. I could give it a name. I can control when it starts, that sort of thing. But I'm just going to click OK. I like to do this last step to make certain that STK is loading properly and it doesn't throw me any errors. So if you create a new scenario, it'll just base it off of whatever the local settings for the time and date, and then go from there. It'll usually bring up a thing that says, hey, you usually want to add stuff into the scenario, but I'm going to close that for now. And for now, I can pan around and we can see, hey, there's the moon in the background, but we've got the Earth there. All that's working. My 2D's working, and I think I'm set and ready to go. I could go through and start inserting things to create my own scenarios. But now we've got STK completely active. I'm pretty certain that STK is going to regularly ping the servers to make certain that your license is still good and hasn't been revoked or anything. So I would recommend that you have it on computers that have pretty common network access. If you've been cut off from the network for a while, you might run into some problems. I'm pretty certain I can still open it on computers when they're offline, but after a little while I may run into problems. So you want to periodically connect them to a network, has been my experience. All right, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to show with this, especially the last parts of kind of filling in some of the basics of what you needed to do. Hopefully this video was useful for you.